Vaya con Dios, erizo. Apestoso.
There's clearly a pattern. There's something going on here. Here. And we are gonna sniff it out. So, while I don't think that this first choice is completely realistic, I could also see it happening. I just think it's not as much of a surprise as the previous two announcements have been. A lot of people online seem to think that Anna Kendrick would be a shoo-in for Amy Rose, and I will admit, when I first saw that Amy Rose was going to be in the next movie, the first A-lister that popped into my head was Anna Kendrick. Now, if you have seen the... If you have seen the...
Sing and kill my grandma, okay?
If you've seen the masterpiece that is Trolls, then you'll understand immediately why Anna Kendrick's poppy personality specifically would work for Amy Rose. That being said, I think that fits for a very specific and a very certain kind of Amy Rose. We don't really know what they're gonna do with her character in Sonic 4, which is why I'm a little hesitant to think that it might be an actress or a VA who's typically more bubbly and lighthearted. Now, they may do that with her character because Amy Rose in the past has been, very aloof and kind of like that. But if we look at Knuckles, he has a very specific identity in the movie as opposed to the games. Same with Shadow, and it does have a lot to do with how they were played by their voice actors. I think it also has a lot to do with how they were written for the movies. So I don't know if we can expect a bubbly, lighthearted, Twinkie Dinky Amy Rose. Having watched Sonic Prime recently, many times, I do realize that the character of Amy Rose has changed in recent years from the Amy Rose that I grew up with as a kid. One, I think it's great. I do really appreciate that she's just one of the team. She carries her own. She's very powerful. She's very cool. She has a very big hammer while also being pink. So I do appreciate that her character has changed in the games and in more of the, pop culture world that she's in. But I think it's just hard to say. Again, like Knuckles, her personality has kind of changed and been very fluid throughout the games. So who's to say what they're going to do with it? They might take it in a totally different direction. I think she would just be too obvious of a choice. So that being said, sorry, Anna Kendrick. Fuck you. You're going to hell. Moving on. We're looking at the pattern, right? Awkwafina. Hear me out. Hear me out. She's done some voice acting in the past. In fact, it feels like she's been in just about everything. Raya and the Last Dragon, Kung Fu Panda.
Like, are you judging me right now? Like, what? We all have our own circumstances.
Lots of really huge movies that, tens of people saw. I think that she's a big enough name and would be enough of a draw, and it seems random enough that I could almost buy it. So while I won't say for 100% certain that that's my prediction, I'm just gonna put a pin in that, and we'll see. But a counterpoint to the Awkwafina theory, and that's where you do it in Rainbow. Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the VAs that we have now in the Sonic franchise are a little bit older. Clearly, the Sonic director really enjoys movies from the 90s and the 2000s. He pulls, he's been pulling classic actors from kind of that era. That's why our actors are all a little bit older. And I do think that Awkwafina would be a bit too young. If we're going into the mind of Jeff Fowler, is he thinking Awkwafina? Probably not. Has he seen Kung Fu Panda? I hope so. So it makes sense to me that Awkwafina might be a little too young to be cast as Amy Rose. And also, I would hate it. So, sorry, Awkwafina. You're going to hell. So after crossing Aquafina off my list, I was able to refocus my sights. A great movie I watched recently for the first time, Moana. Excellent voice acting, just incredible film, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson fits all of our criteria that we've established so far. A-lister, fantastic VA, over the age of 35. However, I have read online that he is kind of a diva to work with. However, I think that could work with another character. Who knows, they may just shelve him for later. So keeping that in mind, this next VA is someone who just lives rent-free in my brain and has since I was a child. So if you grew up watching Sonic X like I did, then anytime you think of Amy Rose, you'll probably think of this voice in your head.
All right, where are you hiding, Sonic? You better come out now!
He's not here.
You can't fool me! I know you're hiding and Chris is covering for you, so come on out, Sonic!
Kill him! Please!
Lisa Ortiz is Amy Rose's voice actress from the Sonic X anime. And every time I think of Amy, or I imagine her talking, that's who I hear in my head. She would fit the age range perfectly. Apparently she's 50, which is crazy. Her voice just fits. Again, it's very high-pitched, it's very girly. That version of Amy was her, lovesick, kind of annoying self. But again, just very cutesy and sort of fit her personality for how it just was at the time. So again, could fit. They brought in Tails. Why not bring in Amy? Counterpoint to that being Serenity from Yu-Gi-Oh! Sucks. She's also not an A-lister. So that being said, Miss Ortiz does not have to go to hell. Due to the overwhelmingly positive audience reception of films such as Joker 2, I wouldn't be surprised if Sonic 4 was actually a musical. So with that being said, it would be Lady Gaga. She's sitting here in my palm. 17-time Grammy winner. I could see Lady Gaga being very excited to play Amy Rose. She's an extremely talented actor. She's won like 17 Grammys, an Oscar, I think, she's older, so that fits. Most people know who she is, so A-lister. There we go.
Okay, do you have any more?
Nope.
Any more
Nope. Jennifer Doulard was the voice actress for Amy Rose in a lot of Sonic games, actually. Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Battle, and a lot of other games. So for quite a big chunk of time, she was the voice of Amy Rose. Again, she kind of caters more to that flighty, girly Amy Rose personality. So depending on whether or not they want to go that direction with that character, it might fit. Again, it's another one, you hear the voice, you see her play Amy, and it just works. So I think that could be a realistic contender. Not an A-lister necessarily, but again, when they chose Tails, they went with the original VA. So it's really hard to say whether or not that could be a valid option. I just think that she'd do a great job. Oh, I forgot to send Lady Gaga to hell.
What? The Joker's down there. The joke's done.
So we've mentioned the pattern several times in this video, and one thing that I probably should have covered in the beginning that I have considered and thought about is that Amy Rose might not be quite as big of a pull as the characters of Knuckles and Shadow. For obvious reasons, Knuckles is one of the main three. Shadow is one of the most popular characters in the franchise besides Sonic. So I think in order to really hype up those characters, it was important to have A-list actors to introduce those into the franchise. Because if you look at it, Tails is huge. Tails is Sonic's number 2. And not just because he has 2 tails. But bringing in the original VA for Tails was really special. Again, I think it worked. But I think they knew that Tails didn't necessarily, maybe I should say, wasn't necessarily going to pull in those big numbers quite like characters like Knuckles or Shadow would. While I think a lot of people are really excited about Amy Rose, me being one of them, I think getting over the Shadow hump may be what limits some of our choices for VAs. I don't think at this point they necessarily need an A-list voice actor to bring in audiences. I think they brought a lot of people in with Shadow, and now the franchise is officially a $1 billion franchise. And I think a lot of those people are going to come see number 4. So, that being said, I'm including another Amy Rose VA in my prediction list. Like I said, I've watched a lot of Sonic Prime. I think this voice actress would fit. She is a little bit older, not ancient, but I think she's done a great job with the character of Amy. And she also fits this newer, more contemporary Amy who holds her own and is just a big part of the team. And she's not as cartoony or bubbly or perky as older Amy Rose voice actresses were. But again, I think that works for how her character is now. Her name is Shannon Chen Kent, and I have enjoyed her interpretation of Amy on Sonic Prime. I don't think that show has the greatest writing, but I do like her character a lot, and I wouldn't be totally upset if that was their pick for Amy. I also wouldn't be super surprised, because again, at this point, the franchise is so big, I don't really think they need that A-lister pull that they had to have with the last 2 characters. So truthfully, I think Shannon would be a great pick. As far as my wish pick, I think I would be okay with her. I don't have one particular person in mind, really, that I'm just like dying to hear as Amy Rose. I think I'm just really just excited for the character. And I'll talk about it in another video, but I really want to explore what I think they're going to do with her personality specifically. Because like I said earlier, they've kind of molded these characters into these cool versions that don't really fit in with how a lot of previous games have set them up or TV shows have done with the characters. So I think Shannon would be a great pick. I would be happy. I think it would work well with the cast of characters that currently exists. Yeah. So Shannon, you don't have to go to hell. You can go to the farm that Stamps went to when he got too old to finish his food all by himself. So as of this date, Saturday, February 8th, 2025, I would like to say that my official prediction for Amy Chandler Rose Sonic 4 is Shannon Chen Kent. I think she does a great job at Sonic Prime. I think she brings enough energy and the right kind of energy. I think she'd do a great job. I don't think they need an A-lister for this one. But also, I just want to put Mary Elizabeth Winstead on my list just in case, so that I can come back and reference this and say that I was right. My next video coming up will be a Sonic 4 predictions video with my brother. We're going to be talking about the plot, characters, what we think is going to happen. We'll also be doing a Sonic Adventure 2 playthrough here soon with a Chow Garden. It'll be cool. It'll be great. Check out my other video on how much I loved Sonic 3. And if you liked this video, watch it again